When I looked at my daughter, she looked dead. I cried to them for help, but they kept telling me to look for money.
Nikaambia yeye niko na 5,000 unisaidie nikibisha mtoto juu amesidiwa. Akaniambia nitasaidia watu wengi lakini nitajaza pesa. Nikarudi tena kwa ofisi.
So ile kitu inafanya watoto wakufe ni mama amekuwa kwa leba kama siku 2. So siku ile pesa inapatikana siku ya 3 ameingizwa kwa ambulance kukimbishwa, mwili ya mama imeisha nguvu.
A recent study which was done in Kenya showed a prevalence of 83%. That's quite high. That 83 of women who are pregnant, coming for delivery and after, undergo one form of obstetric violence.
Utajihisi kuwa wewe ni a lesser human being. Ni kwa sababu uwezo umenyang'anywa.
They were being subjected to procedures without their consent, including having their tubes tied.
The wound has not yet healed. The wound is quite painful.
Can you sit in that position, the position you're in when you're having sex with your husband?
On September 2nd, 2024, Emily gave birth to a baby girl at Wamba Hospital. On September 3rd, 2024, Emily complained to the nurses at Wamba Hospital that she was feeling dizzy, her blood pressure was low, and her stomach was swollen. However, despite the complaint, the hospital gave Emily birth control and discharged her.
Peleka mtoto nyumbani. Sasa hiyo tukakaa mtoto akaanza kuniambia asikii kupumua mzuri. Sasa wakati nimefika asubuhi ndio nikang'ang'ana nikapeleka hospitali. Wakati tumesha kaka nikaambia simuni release basi munitafutie namna ya kupeleka mtoto kukimbisha. Nilikaa siku yote hiyo mchana mzima mpaka kesho yake. Sio sasa akakuja hiyo saa 9 usiku. Ndio mtoto amesidiwa. Akaangalia mtoto akaniambia sasa fanya hivi iko mwenye anahusika na ambulance. Sasa wakati nilifika kwa ile mama nikaanza kwanza kupigia simu ya staff. Kupigia simu ya staff akaniambia sasa akasema kama ana pesa mpaka basa ajese pesa hospitali. Sasa hiyo sio akaniambia enda pata wewe mwenyewe kwake. Nikaenda nikampata. Nikaambia niko na 5,000 unisaidie nikimbishe mama msichana hospitali. Nikikosa basi utakuja kunifunga juu sina basi pesa. Akaniambia sasa wengi walifanya hivyo na hakumeka kulipa.
Sana watu wanaitishwa cash ama saa zingine pia wanaambiwa twende kwa petrol station uweke mafuta, lakini haujui receipt ya hiyo mafuta inaenda wapi.
Sasa kutoka pale mtu akikosa pesa hakuna kitu kingine tutaweza kufanya.
Nikapotesha mtoto juu sina pesa na ambulance ondoki.
Article 43(1)(a) provides for every person's right to the highest attainable standard of health, and it includes the rights to reproductive health care services.
When it comes to Article 43(2), it speaks on emergency treatment, that no one shall be denied emergency treatment. So that's where this whole conversation around emergency obstetric care is grounded on. The Health Act in Section 7 goes ahead to expound the rights that someone has when it comes to emergency treatment, to include pre-hospital care, stabilizing the patient. If that doesn't happen, then referral. And that's where ambulances come in.
Na pia tukiangalia documents zingine za county government ya Samburu kama vile finance bill, kuna charges wanakuanga wameipeana. Na ukiangalia kwa hiyo charges wameipeana, chini yake wanakuanga wameandika healthcare ambulance services ni free if kama unakuwa referred kutoka a public health facility to a county facility.
I am currently the guardian of Emily's newborn child. Given that she is of tender age, less than 1 year, I am forced to stay at home every day to take care of her, and as such cannot do any form of work to support my family. Since I cannot afford money to buy milk, Emily's child is being breastfed by a family member who recently gave birth.
Obstetric violence is a term from a medical perspective we use to define mistreatment and abuse of women and girls when they are pregnant, when they come to us for delivery, and that period after delivery, which in medical terms we call postpartum.
We have the World Health Organization that developed recommendations on interpartum care for a positive childbirth experience that defines elements to the right to health that can be used in emergencies as availability, accessibility, acceptability, and the quality.
For many women, the power to be able to say no, to be able to say yes, to be able to understand is the ability they don't have. Some of them don't have the knowledge. They even don't realize that they have the power within them to be able to question a doctor.
As doctors, nurses, and clinical officers, over-medicalize. We put a lot of uncomplicated issues to childbirth, something that is supposed to be natural. We prescribe so many unnecessary procedures.
I learned it was common among the women in the village, saying I was slapped, I was abused. I remember a mother who was giving birth to her third child, and the nurses were telling her, we thought you have experience. It's not your first child. Why are you behaving like this? Not knowing every pregnancy is different. And they were telling her, if you're not ready, then we'll leave you there. And even those 3 are enough for you. Don't give birth anymore.
You find a woman being told to sit in that position or lying in that position, the same position she was when she was getting pregnant.
To women and girls being left on the bed when they're giving birth, basically because the doctors and the clinicians found out this person was living with HIV.
Sometimes someone didn't even require emergency treatment, but because of the delay in treatment, which is another form of obstetric violence, it ends up in an emergency situation, and then they're told to pay money that they don't have in many instances or they hadn't budgeted for, and someone is dying.
A woman is crying of pain, but people believe that labor should be painful, but that is not a practice. Should not. There's pain management for labor. Sometimes we deny them because we want them to feel pain. So they are crying in pain, but we neglect them.
I remember I had time to talk to some of these medics, and I was asking them, why do you normally end up slapping a mother while giving birth? And the answer was, some of these mothers, when you don't slap them, when you don't beat them, they will end up pressing the child. That was the explanation. They will end up in Swahili say, watamfinya mtoto. Therefore, we slap them, tell like, open it up.
Nilikuwa na mume wangu hospitali na nikaenda nikapelekwa chumba kile cha kufanya upasuaji, nikafanyiwa upasuaji. Mtoto wangu nikaonyeshwa, alikuwa mtoto msichana, na nikatoka chumba kile. Kuna chumba kingine baada ya hicho cha upasuaji, mahali wagonjwa walikuwa wanawekwa kupumzika kidogo. Mahali pale ndipo sasa niliona wamekuja wakaniambia sikuweka sahihi ile karatasi ya kwenda upasuaji. Kwa hivyo wakaniambia niweke sahihi. Sasa ni after nimetoka na hata akili haijafunguka. Hapo ndipo nakumbuka niliweza kutia karatasi kile sahihi, alafu wakanirudisha kwa wodi. Pasi na mimi kuniambia, pasi na mimi kuniuliza, pasi na mimi kunihusisha, pasi na kuhusisha mume wangu.
That day that she was to leave the hospital, I remember it was in the month of May 2018. So I went to pay the bill, and I was told that there's supposed that had been done, that's tubal ligation, and it's not covered by the insurance, so I had to pay cash. I could not raise Alma at that point because she was not in her good condition, so I don't stress her at that point.
I can imagine when someone is giving birth, I don't think they even have the energy to think about anything else because they are going through pain and something is happening in their body, they do not have the privilege to be able to ask the doctor, make sure you don't harm me, because what they're thinking about is something else.
Then it happened. It happened that after the second day that day, I was called from my place of work and I was told that the baby had passed on. So I went back there to the hospital to do the clearing and all that. I paid cash for around 73,000. There was a bill which was coming to around 118,000, which I could not trace. So I told them, let me just go and see how I can outsource to get this money. I tried to talk to the person who was in charge of finances. And he told me that I have to pay the amount. I said, it's okay. You know that my wife just left, so I have to go back and see how I can raise this amount of money. And I was told that I have to pay. They cannot let me go before I clear the bill. And I was not given an option to say whether to maybe give her security or collateral so that I could be released. They just said, we want cash.
I still feel like we don't have proper channels for redress for obstetric violence. Where do I go and report that I was abused in labor? Someone can say I was out of my mind, or I didn't hear, or I misunderstood. Literally, it's my word as a sick person, or I'm weak, or I'm in pain at that particular time, with the word of a doctor who is okay.
Si unaona Mungu asiposaidia the couple, ita break. Kwa sababu mwenzako atakuuliza, wewe mbona ulikubali kufanyiwa hivi na mimi huku nijulisha? Mimi nitaenda nioa bibi mwingine, maanake mimi nataka bado watoto wengine wawili. Kama uko na wawili na alikuwa nataka wanne, si ataenda oa mwingine.
Previously, Kellyn in December 2014 filed 2 cases concerning forced and coerced sterilization related to 4 women who claimed that they had faced violence in health facilities. We had ladies who were attending government hospitals to get access to ARVs, and they were being subjected to procedures without their consent, including having their tubes tied. We also had clients who were attended to in a private medical facility, and the tubal ligation was done to them without their consent or their knowledge, and they came to discover after. So we filed these cases after learning it from a study that had been done by a partner organization. And once a partner organization had done the study to see to what extent were women in Kenya who are living with HIV subjected to forced and coerced sterilization, they documented 40 stories. And one of the issues the women asked for was access to justice. Many of these women who were living with HIV were poor and vulnerable, did not have access to some of their medical records. So very few of them had their clinic cards. Very few of them had documentary evidence that they could prove they attended those facilities. None of them remembered the names of the doctors. And so out of the 40 women, only 5 had credible evidence that could stand the weight and the scrutiny before a court of law. We had 2 cases, petition 605, that involved 4 women living with HIV, and petition 606 that involved 1 woman living with HIV because her case happened in a medical facility and had no connection to the other cases. So petition 606 that was delivered on the 10th of December 2022, actually on World Human Rights Day, exactly 8 years after we had filed it, was the first case in Kenya to ever address the issue of forced and coerced sterilization, which is a form of obstetric violence. And why this case was significantly important is that for the first time in the world, a court was able to link the fact that a woman had been subjected to tubal ligation because of her HIV status. Same findings were found in petition 605 that was then delivered on the 21st of September in 2023 by the same judge, Justice Murima, who was hearing both cases. And so they also took a similar trajectory of finding that the rights of the women had been violated and that there was need to improve on the aspect of informed consent as laid out in the Health Act and equally monetary damages were given to each of the ladies. Because of the length of time and the fact that many of these women had no jobs or income, they felt extremely devastated that the court process was taking too long, and it was very difficult to continue to keep them interested in the case and to encourage them to want to continue with the case, because they were very frustrated that this journey is taking long. So the length of time the litigation took at the High Court is something that really posed a challenge for us to be able to keep counseling our clients and keeping them in the right mind frame and continue preparing them around the delays and the eventuality that come with court cases. So overall, we learned from these challenges that we must always prepare our client well, and there's nothing much we can do about court processes, but try to be ready on our side as much as possible.
Emily alitoka hospitali tarehe 3 ama alitoka hospitali tarehe 4? Mostly we are doing strategic litigation, and the impact of strategic litigation goes beyond like a certain person. The goal is to bring about change and to have the government and the healthcare facilities being held accountable for the violations, as well as push for also legislation and other policy to cover or to cater for, to provide for obstetric violence and to regulate that reproductive health care services.
Reproductive justice is not about winning that case. Even the fact that a case came out and people talk about it, because we need the public to talk about it, that will also have a big impact in people understanding, even the community, what are my rights?
Earlier in the year, Kelly launched the litigation strategy to enhance access to respectful maternal services in Kenya. The litigation strategy seeks to, number one, have a legal definition of which obstetric violence is, and try to examine the different jurisprudence or the different judgments we have gotten from both the High Court and Court of Appeal when it comes to litigating obstetric violence. It has even gone further to provide the different forms of OV. We might litigate on OV, have 5 cases, but as long as we don't address the root cause of obstetric violence, then it can never be solved. Number one, if the issue is infrastructure, how do we address the issue of budgeting for maternal care within the county government when they are given money and they are preparing for their next fiscal year? If the issue is grounding OV and having a law on OV, how do we address the issue of obstetric violence being codified into law?
Positive outcome from the cases that we are litigating on obstetric violence would first affirm or validate the experiences of the women who have undergone obstetric violence.
We should all have access to really comprehensive and quality healthcare, which is free from violence, discrimination, and even stigma.
So I would encourage more and more of us, doctors, healthcare providers, to come out and advocate for women. And the goal is that woman-centered care in terms of maternal care.
For me, the real success is that woman saying, I want to go back and deliver again, because I felt respected, I felt dignified, and I felt there was compassion towards me, and say no to obstetric violence.